Hey everyone, this is one of my recent DIY project. Now this is my tankless water heater, and you can see here in most of these tankless water heaters, especially if you have a recirculation type of water heaters, they install something as called as a pressurized expansion tank. Guess what? 2 weeks back, I came down to the basement. This place was like flooded with water. The water was sprayed all over the place on the top. And I found out, as you can see here, the piece where the washers thread through, there was a tiny crack due to some rust, and that started to spray the water all over the place. Now you might notice that I've used, as a temporary fix, I just got this JB water well from Canadian Tire. I mixed this up and I just glued it down there, and for 2 weeks this has been holding down, but you can still see a little bit of those rusty leaks. It takes a while to get these water tanks shipped because Home Depot and Canadian Tire, they don't carry them. Here's my new one, which finally arrived today. Eastman pressurized water tank, expansion tank rather. I ordered this from Home Depot. Fortunately, it was about $35 when compared to certain ones like these costing about $100. Same 2-gallon should do the magic. Now, before I did the fix, as you can see here, it was not just because the water was spraying pretty bad, so I need to shut off the cold line, and you can see here that's the main water shut off. So I completely shut it down, turned on all the faucets, released all the pressure, and then when there was no water spraying, I just glued this area down. Now this is really hardened, you can see here. So for 2 weeks I was able to keep this all with no leaks, and it was still working very well. Well, it's time to install this new pressurized expansion tank and replace the old one. Now I noticed I put a bucket in here just in case. Now this is a relief valve. The relief valve is just in case if the pressure builds up, it really loosens up and it's going to bring down some water. That's why I put the bucket there. I'm not sure how good this pressurized water tank, because of the leak, couldn't trust this, so I just kept this just in case. Now if you're wondering why you need this, now remember, whenever the water heats up, the pressure increases, and you don't want that pressure to go circulate in your tubes, and that could cause some damage to the pipes. So to prevent that, that's why these tanks are installed. So what this does is, when pressure increases on these pipes, when it's more than what the normal PSI for your water pressure is, there is a valve which opens and sends the water inside. There is a diaphragm here which pushes down and takes some water here, so there's less pressure on these tubes because most of the pressure are diverted here. When the water pressure goes down, after the heat goes down, the water will be recirculated back into the tube, so this way your pipes are more safe. Now this is just an add-on to these relief valves, which are pretty much the same thing. The pressure goes high, they would snap, the water will just flow into the draining system, just to avoid your pipes getting burst. So that's what this is for. So let's see how the project goes for my replacement. Alright, to complete this project, you definitely need a few things for sure you need to buy. One of them is this little gadget. This one just measures the amount of PSI of the water pressure which is coming into the house. It's a very simple gadget. I just got this one from Amazon. It's about just $15, just $1.15. What it does is, you can see here, it just threads into, I just took this outside to where my garden hose connects. So you just have to screw this in, and all it does is, so once you turn on the water, you can see that the black needle moves from 0 and it shows how much of PSI your water pressure is. It's very important. You need to have this gadget. Now I checked my water pressure, so it's giving me a reading of 50 58 psi. So that's why this one is an important one. The reason why you need to measure your water psi is because, I'm going to show this to you. All right, this is the new pressurized tank. Now if you look at the bottom, I'm going to unscrew this. Now you'll see something very similar to your bicycle valve. So this is where you have to inflate this area so this portion is just going to be air in it with the diaphragm in the middle, and the top portion is going to fill with water. So the diaphragm pushes and the air works like a cushion. Now it's very, very important that the pressure you note on this water pressure meter with your pressure in the house should match the pressure you're going to fill at the bottom of this. But some plumbers recommend maybe putting an extra 5 psi over your normal water pressure in your house. It depends, like each one works. Some say it's best to match this. Now this one can be inflated with just your regular bicycle air inflator. It takes a while, but it might work. Now it says here that this let's see here. So this is a factory pre-charge. I'm not sure you can see a factory pre-charge to 40 psi. Now definitely that's not enough, because my water pressure in my house is 58 psi. So I got to get this to 50, and I'm looking at about 18 more psi. Now I need to check if this is even 40 psi as it's recommended by the manufacturer. Now, what I'm going to use is a very, very simple, this is a simple bicycle inflator. It's a rechargeable battery operator. So I'm just going to turn this on. All right, and I'm not sure if you can see, I'm just going to connect the tube right there, and all right, let's check the pressure now. And I'm not sure you can see a 45 right there. So it looks like a little more than what they recommended. So it's showing a 45 psi, and you can see here I connected the tube. I'm just going to hold this down, and it's showing a 45 psi. All right, so let me just take this off. So this is just air, there's no gas or anything in that, so it's safe. Now there's a plastic screw on which just protects. It's my automatic light trying to go off. All right, so always make sure that to screw this on just to protect the valve once your job's done. So this portion is in 1/2 inch, which goes on that tube over there when it's all ready. When I'm just going to disconnect the water, I'm just going to unscrew the tube on that, and I'm just going to screw this back on this one too. Now it's highly recommended you just circle around a Teflon, just like when you're installing a bathroom, like a shower faucet or anything. You normally put a Teflon. It just protects extra any leaks of water which after installation. So simple as it is. So let's see how that goes. Just gonna put that back in here. All right, I have preset this to 60 psi, and that's what I'm trying to inflate. That's maybe about 4 psi, just a little over my home waterline pressure. I'm just going to put this valve in, lock it up in place, and just turn this on. There you go. It just cut off at 59. That should do the magic. All right. Let me just take this out. All right. Now this tank here, the new one, is pressurized to about 59 psi. Now I know my home pressure for the water is about 56, give or take. All right. So once I installed this over there, now you notice in the water line, if the water temperature goes up, and you notice that if the pressure increases over 60, that's going to open the valve and let the water flow inside of the tank to release any pressure, so that the water pipes are going to be a lot safer. So that's the purpose of using a pressurized expansion tank. All right, I finished shutting off the main water line. and I opened up a few taps around the house just to release all the pressure. The first thing I want to do is I need to release the pressure to take away any extra pressure. There you go, almost. If you ever notice if water comes through this place where you inflate air, definitely this unit needs to be replaced, because maybe the diaphragm inside has failed and is letting the water through, and then probably the water is going to leak there. So those are all the signs that either this needs to be replaced or if there's a leak anywhere. Alright, now I just left this extra tub here in case if I have to catch any water, because once I remove this, a little bit of water could come through even though I release some pressure. So just to be on the safe side, I'll just leave a big tub to catch. You can use a bucket or you can use some rag cloth, anything to catch water so that it doesn't make a big mess. Alright, I got a vice grip on this reducer, and here's the 2-inch bolt which goes on the top. So I'm just gonna crank this, and there you can see I can loosen this. Now the most important thing I forgot to mention is you need to make sure to turn off the power supply to the water heater and unplug. It's very, very important. Also, you need to shut off the gas valve. There should be one. Just gonna show that to you. So right now you can see here it's powered off. I unplugged, and here's a valve which supplies gas. So I'm just going to just crank, and there we go. It's turned off, and just to be on the safe side. All right, let's come back in here. All right, so it's loosened up, and you can see here I can just unscrew this. Oh, there you see. That's all the excess water I was talking about. I'm so glad I got the tub there. Even though I released all the water pressure, and you can see that would be a lot of mess. And you can also see water's coming through this as well. There you go. So the crack was somewhere here because of rust. That's where the water was pressuring out. So you can see the amount of rust. There's a lot of rust. So what the plumber did, he used this reducer because of the difference in the diameter of these screws there. So this probably caused a lot of rust, and it started to build the rust in the cylinder, and that could be the main reason why there's a crack. You can see there's so much of rust inside right there. So that's probably destroyed the valve and probably the cylinder itself. Now look at the color. It's almost rusted color. And you can pretty much see inside. Look at the color of the water. It's all water mixed with rust. There you go. So good news, this is taken out. All right, I noticed that this is a 3x4 of a male type screw-on, and then the tube has the same 3x4 male type screw-on. So I need to get an adapter. It's a double-sided 3x4 adapter to go in between the expansion tank and the tube right there. But it's very important, so make sure to use a simple Teflon to make sure to circle around both the threads so that you don't have any leaks at all. Alright, let's see how this goes. There you go. So here's the Teflon tape for the tank. Now I'm going to apply the tape to the tubes over there. There you can see Teflon is applied to the tube as well. So this adapter is going to go on the tube and then on the expansion tank. Alright, something very, very important here is a look at my old expansion tank and look at the reducer which was used by the previous HVAC guy who installed this. He's used a galvanized adapter which is more meant for a gas pipe connection. And you can imagine the amount of rust which has caused the damage or the break in the cylinder. This is why I'm using a brass connector which is meant for water rather than a galvanized. Do not use anything which is galvanized, which is more meant for a gas connection. There you go. I got the adapter in the expansion tank. I'm going to have the tube connected to the top of this. There you can see I have a vice grip and then another plier to make this go nice and tight and snug. There you go. That's nice and tight. Okay. All done. All right. Once again, recap. All right. As you can see, the pressure in this pipe once I turn on the water is going to be about 58 psi. Now the pressure of air at the bottom of the tank, I set it to about 60 psi, just 2 psi over. So let's say the pressure should match, which is very important. So there's a small valve here which should open. If the pressure exceeds 60 psi, the valve will open, the water will flow into the tank. There's a diaphragm which descends, the air will be used as a cushion, and then the water will fill in here, which releases all the pressure on the tube. When the pressure goes down, the water will be released up into the tubes so that your water pipes can be safe. All right, moment of truth. I'm going to turn on the water, but before that I need to secure this tank. You can see here there's already one from the previous one. I'm just going to strap this around and I'm going to secure it to the wall. There you go, all sealed. I don't see any leaks. There's no leaks there. Turn on the faucet. Yeah, the heat is turned on as well. All good. Job done.